Paul, are Notre Dame's chances at a spot in the college football playoffs over now?
They're pretty close to it, and it's so interesting, Molly, because a week ago after beating A&M, most of us had them in, but that was such a terrible loss. I mean, monumental. It's hard to put into words how destructive that was. And Notre Dame now must depend on other schools. I mean, you cannot say on September 10th that they're done because they have a couple of respectable games ahead, primarily at the end of the year against Southern Cal. And they better hope that Southern Cal is a legitimate contender because other than that, playing Florida State's not going to help them very much with all the problems that they have. And you just try to find something on that schedule. I mean, Louisville's okay. That would be a quality win, but there's nothing else. I mean, they really needed Florida State to be a contender. And if USC is not ranked in the top 10 or 15, that win won't help them very much. So what's so frustrating is that everyone loves Marcus Freeman. I think I can speak for this entire panel. But this is inexcusable now, the fact that he's lost a terrible Stanford team a couple of years ago. He lost to Marshall, and now NIU. Somewhere, some place, I just have the sense that Newt Rockne is rolling over.
And then we looked at the schedule. We're like, man, look at all those home games. They got, I mean, they're at Purdue, but they got Miami of Ohio and Stanford and Navy and Army and yada, yada, yada. So you like everything is set up. They definitely should make it. And now they lose to, like you said, Northern Illinois. But because they're going to be 12 teams, and we think Georgia, we think there are some teams that looks like they're going to be in, this is going to be just a formality. But I think because of their 12 teams, I don't think their season is over just yet.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Let's stop this. Let's stop this. Come on. Come on. Let's stop this. Okay. Okay. Listen. Their strength of schedule right now ranks 52nd among FBS schools. Okay, so you got teams that are, they're classified as mid-tier teams, the Georgia Techs and the Armies of the world. Come on now. You're literally sitting back. We're in September. We're in mid-September, and we're sitting here, and you know what we're saying? We're saying two things. Number one, they got to run the table. And number two, they got to pray that USC is big time. So the season finale against USC, hopefully they'll elevate to a top 10 team in the nation, top 5 team in the nation, and then Notre Dame beats them after running the table, by the way. And then they'll make the playoffs. Nah. I mean, when you look at the teams in the Power 4 conferences and what they bring to the table, when you look at the fact that Notre Dame, like Paul just said, listen, the committee, we know this, and put Paul up because I want to see Paul when I'm saying this right here, the mouth of the South. Here's the deal, y'all. We look at Notre Dame. Who did you say they lost to? Marshall? Randy Moss ain't there no more. I know they got that dude that caught that catch like Moss. You understand? But, Randy Moss ain't there no more. So you got Marshall. And who else did they lose to? Who was the other team, Paul?
Stanford. They lost to Stanford.
Which was a bad Stanford team, right? A mediocre Stanford team, Marshall, and now Northern Illinois. Not Illinois to fight in the Illini. Oh, no, not them. Northern Illinois, really? Come on now. It's got to a point where people are literally asking the question, well, why are they on national television? Why are they on national television? I mean, think about it. You're gonna start asking those questions. I mean, you got some alumni members, that are in posh positions in the television world, evidently something along those lines, because nobody can figure out why the hell the Fighting Irish are on national television all the time with their separate national television deal. You can't be losing games like this. Of course, I'm a fan of Marcus Freeman. I like the brother personally. I certainly don't root against him, but the facts are the facts with a schedule that is suspect. And now it's ranked as the 52nd toughest schedule in the FBS, combined with games like Georgia Tech and Army on the schedule. We got to look at them and say, all right, man, handle your business against Louisville, handle your business against USC. That is your claim to the playoffs? It ain't happening. Hell no. I can't see it. It's over right now in September.
Well, Stephen A., this is where Notre Dame's arrogance comes back to bite them. They're too good to be in a conference. Had they been in a conference, they'd at least have a conference championship game where they could gain some quality points. But no, they're too good for that. And Notre Dame fans like to hate on Brian Kelly. What did Brian Kelly do? He got to a national championship game, and he got to 2 other playoff games. And that looks pretty good right now, considering where this program is. If they run the table, Shannon, I understand what you're saying, but move 5 schools off the path. We're only talking about deciding between 7 other schools, and of those 7, you would be talking about probably Texas and Ole Miss and Alabama and Oregon. So it's not as easy just to put them in there. This was a devastating loss, as we all have said. They can get back, but their path is so narrow.
Time that the other guy get touched, and this is the reason why I didn't play as well as I should have. That's where I give him pushback at. But I think that's a learning experience. He'll get better. I'm sure his father had a conversation with him, says, hey, this is the way we need to talk after ball games, because it's not just about college, it's about the next level. And if you say that at the next level, them offensive linemen, hey, they're going to look at you a little side-eyed.
Shannon, that's great advice. I don't disagree with you. I do think it's important to contextualize it properly, however. They were coming at him as reporters, essentially saying that a true freshman at the quarterback position for the opposition had performed better than him. And so one of the things he's doing is he's reacting personally. Just like last year when Deion Sanders came to him and said, why did you do X, Y, and Z? And he said, it's personal. Because Deion Sanders had given him a motivational speech talking about it's personal. And that was their battle cry earlier in the season when they had started the season off winning their first 3 games. So you got to understand the kind of mentality and the bravado and the machismo this kid walks around with is part of what makes him great. So I get what you're saying, and he should listen to you, not somebody like me, Shannon, in that particular situation, because you're a Hall of Famer who's done it. I'm just trying to contextualize it properly so we make sure that the public understands why he may have done that, even though you're right in saying it wasn't the wisest thing for him to do. Let me piggyback off of Paul Finebaum, and producers leave the both of them up on the screen because I want to see them when I'm saying this stuff. Paul Finebaum, I would love to disagree with you on what you said about primetime Deion Sanders, and you wouldn't be surprised if he's ultimately looking to get up out of there. But I don't disagree with you. A matter of fact, I hope you're right, because I was one of those people, Shannon, that I wanted Deion at Florida State, and then when he didn't get that job, I wanted him at Texas A&M. I don't believe he's going to be able to do but so much recruiting for Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado. And so I believe that what he's experiencing now is going to continue. Put Deion Sanders in a big-time SEC program or something along those lines where recruiting comes into play, and I think that you'll see him do lights out. But in Boulder, Colorado, I just don't believe that's going to happen.
But do you think this hurts him
It does hurt him.
To get that kind of opportunity, fair or not?
It's all hurting him right now, Molly, because here's the thing, and Paul alluded to this, and we're going to say this. Now, last year, the Colorado Buffaloes had the worst rushing attack in the nation, averaging 68.9 yards per game. Do y'all know that they're worse this year at 37.5 yards? That is an atrocity. That is horrible. Okay, now, FYI, loss to sacks are included in rush yards in college football, not the NFL. But in college football, the amount of times that you're sacked and the yardage that you lose, that counts as a rush, okay? Shedeur Sanders has been sacked 58 times since last season. 58 times, second most in the nation. He's getting slaughtered. And so now you have a situation in Colorado where the offensive line was obviously a priority. You got 5 new offensive linemen. They look worse than they did last year. And then on top of it all,
the turnover, it's so hard to gain chemistry for an offensive line.
So you don't have so you don't have an offensive line, which means you can't pass protect and you can't run block. So we don't even know how to judge the running backs, and we don't know if we can judge Shedeur Sanders but so much because he's getting slaughtered.
And he just threw his first pick 6 against Nebraska.
He's got 2 picks this year. He had 3 all of last year. Already has 2.
How much?